Hi, everyone. My name is Sean Kenny. I will be leading this class this semester, and this is a little bit about myself so that you guys can get to know me a little bit. So, I've been teaching Leadership 101 for many years, as I said on the slide, but this is my 10th year doing it. This is, however, only my second time doing this online. Last year, during the COVID lockdown, was the first time I did an asynchronous class. This is the second time, so I'm looking forward to it. I noticed that we got a lot out of it being able to do it. Just we're not able to share as easily. That's why we're doing things like doing this sort of exercise. Hi everyone, my name is Sean Kenny. I will be leading this class, Leadership 101, this year. I thought it would be a good opportunity to do a quick little video, seeing this is asynchronous and online, that we would that you get to know a little bit about me. So this is a picture of me and my family at Blarney Castle in Ireland. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little minute. So I've been teaching Leadership 101 for about 10 years. This is my second time doing it online. So last year I started to put it together, and then we had the COVID lockdowns. And luckily I had put together this class online. So we were able to held this class last summer asynchronously online. And then I was able to use some of it when we did it synchronous, but still online during the fall. So this is again an asynchronous online class. So this is a kind of a way to get to know me a little bit. So this picture was taken on the Ring of Kerry, also in Ireland, and that's my wife Kelly. So a little bit about my family. So I already showed you a picture of me and my wife Kelly. So that's my wife Kelly's there. On the left hand side is my daughter Jillian. She is a freshman at Quinnipiac University. She just finished her freshman year. She's a computer information systems project management major. So a lot of words. She's very smart. And then my other daughter Olivia is on the right. She's a freshman at Mount Hope High School. That's her on the varsity volleyball team, just about to block a shot. So something unique about me, for my 50th birthday, we decided to go to Ireland. So it was one of those that it was one of the first times, it was the first time I'd ever taken my family really in a plane out of the country. So it was kind of a unique thing to fly all night, get there, and be able to see this beautiful city, and then drive around the country. And yes, I drove a big van with, I don't know if you've ever seen roads in Ireland, but they're tiny and they're two-way streets. But I was able and the steering wheel's on the wrong side. I was able to navigate myself and my family all around Ireland, and we got to see as much of it as we possibly could in the time we were there. And on my 50th birthday, you saw that picture at the beginning of Blarney Castle. I got to kiss the Blarney Stone, which is one of the major touristy places in Ireland, on my 50th birthday. So that was pretty cool. So a little bit about my education. So right after high school, I went to Bridgewater State College, and I was a science major, and it really wasn't a great fit for me. I was there. I really enjoyed science, but I was having trouble really just staying in the labs and just immersing myself and learning all the different Kingdom Phylum classes of everything, and not seeing the purpose of what I would do with it. So after 1 year, I left there and I enrolled in Bristol Community College, which is a small community college in Fall River. When I was there, I took a variety of classes, took some business classes, took a business marketing class, fell in love with it, figured out that is exactly what I wanted to do. So when I finished at Bristol Community College, I went to UMass Dartmouth. So in there, I was a marketing major, really excelled, really enjoyed what I was doing, loved the business program. Left UMass Dartmouth after graduating, and went out into the workforce. And then a couple of years down the road, actually it was a lot of years down the road, I went back. So Providence College. So I came to Providence College to get my master's degree, my MBA. My father had got his MBA here, so to me it was like one of those legacy things to continue to do. So I went there, and one of the last classes that I took was a leadership class with Dr. Erickson, who you guys will hopefully meet along the way. And I loved Dr. Erickson's class, loved everything about it, got to know him. And through that, we started talking about maybe me filling in once in a while, and then from filling in came to teaching this class live, usually in the fall. So I was doing it once a year in the fall, and then, as I said, a couple of years, well, last year they came to me and asked me if I would put it together for an asynchronous online class. So I said, sure, let me try doing it. So if I could recapture some of the things that we do in class live, if I could do that this way and people could learn on their own. And at the end, if I felt like they got as much out of it, I would do it again. So obviously last year, I felt like they got a lot out of it. I was lucky that I put all that together, because then when COVID, we had the COVID shutdowns last year in the fall, my class went online. So luckily I had a lot of the multimedia information that you guys are going to see during the class. I already had prepared, so it was good. So we were able to get on from and get something out of it. So again, this year when they came to me, I said, sure, I'd love to do it again. That was my education. So between UMass, Dartmouth, and Providence College, I when I left UMass Dartmouth after graduating, I went to work for Apex Department Stores. So Apex was a small three-store chain that was in Rhode Island, and well, two stores in Rhode Island, one store in southeastern Mass. I started out in the small store in southeastern Massachusetts at the Swansea Mall, which is now not really there. No, the store's not there, and the mall's not really there anymore. But I started in that small store. I was offered a job right after graduation to manage the furniture and mattress department. So I said, "Hey, this is great. I just finished college. I already got a job. Let me jump into it." So I jumped into it, worked really hard. From there, they promoted me into when they went to these divisional life. I became the divisional manager for the lifestyle division. So it was furniture and bedding, which I already had, but then it was also sporting goods and music and a bunch of little departments that they put together. So I became the lifestyle manager. So I was promoted to the main store, which was in Pawtucket. The whole buying department was downstairs. The CEOs was down there. So I had a good opportunity to meet and learn. I really thought that was going to be my career, is that I was going to just keep working for Apex and just keep going and excelling and going through things. They had me doing a lot of special projects, and I was moving up within the company. Then that started to slow down a little bit, and all of a sudden, one day, Serta Mattress came to me, and then a bunch of the other mattress manufacturers that I had asked about me becoming a rep for them and going on the road and being a sales rep. And it was something that I had never really thought of. Investigated a little bit more, found out that it was something that I wanted to do. So I went to work for Serta. Really enjoyed my time at Serta. When I started with Serta, I did a lot of the national accounts. So Apex being one of them, because it was a department store chain, but it was also Macy's and Filene's at the time, Jordan Marsh, Montgomery Ward, Lechmere, Bloomingdale's. So it was great. I got to see a lot of these big high-end retail. I came out of retail. I got to see a lot of these high-end retail. I got to work with the sales reps. I got to do my own thing. Then they started giving me some of my own small accounts, and from those small accounts, they saw that I had a knack of being able to work with some of these store owners and really start to build businesses and build a real foundation for Serta in their businesses and understanding. So I got to know their businesses and got to work with them. From there, Serta promoted me, and they gave me a much bigger territory, which was Western Mass, Vermont, and upstate New York. So part of upstate New York, just on the other side of Lake Champlain. And so I worked there and again enjoyed it. Got to work with a lot of small stores, some bigger store chains. Got to learn all of Vermont. I know every back road. I know every diner. It was great. I again enjoyed my time there. And then they made a change, which I think happens a lot of times. And they brought in a new sales manager. And in my mind, this was a very toxic leader. And we'll talk more about my experience there as we get into toxic leadership a little bit later in the course. But I had to make a choice, and it was: do I stay and work for this toxic leader and wait him out till he leaves, because I know that's going to happen, or do I make a change? So what I decided to do is make a change. And I went back to my science roots, right? So I had the opportunity then to go to work for for Merck Pharmaceuticals. So it was a pharmaceutical company, something that I got back to doing science. So if you remember, I originally went to school because I loved science. Well, I still love science. Now I get a chance to go to Merck, and I get to talk to really smart people about science, about products, about how medications work. Loved it. Worked with primary care right off the bat. From there, I had an opportunity to come back to Rhode Island. So I grew up just outside of Rhode Island. My wife's from Rhode Island, so I got a chance to come back. And so we moved to Bristol, Rhode Island, and to really had this good opportunity to become a specialty rep. While becoming a specialty rep, that's when I went back to school to get my MBA. So again, back in Rhode Island, uh, family started, um, able to go back to school, everything kind of cooking right along. When I started with Merck, there were 8,000 primary care reps. We had about 13,000 reps in all of all the different kind of specialty and primary care. And then the layoffs started happening. And, so this industry has really dropped a lot of people. And I went through a lot of the layoffs. And then finally, 19 years after I started with them, I had actually worked my way up to a manager, and it was one of those. I got caught up in one of those layoffs, and they didn't have a position for me. So, as luck would have it, another company had come to me, so Zoll Medical, which is a small medical device company. And I say small, we'll get into it. It's actually a much bigger company than it looks like, but it in my mind it was smaller than Merck, so it was a small company, and I got to work for them and go over as a business manager, right? So I'd worked my way up through Merck to get to become a business manager, come over to Zoll as a business manager. They gave me a team that was last place in the country, needed a complete overhaul, needed a lot of work. So it was exactly what I wanted to do. So a little bit about Zoll, as they do a lot of things. So they're really known for their defibrillators, right? So if you look, these are a number of their defibrillators that they have. So if you go all the way to the right, that one down there is one that you would see on an ambulance, right? So that's an ambulance defibrillator, um, specially made. You actually see that. That's a military grade one because it's something that we make for the military also. Up above it, the kind of lime green one that says AED on it, that one is one that you would see in restaurants, movie theaters. You see them at Logan Airport. They're all over the place. You see them in schools. Those are the AEDs. Those are the ones that you see all over the place, um, that'll walk you right through using it. The one in the middle is a hospital defibrillator, right? So that's something that you would see if you're in the hospital, typically on a crash cart. That one's there. The one all the way to the left, and it's highlighted in blue, that's the life vest. So that was something completely unique to me. So that's a wearable defibrillator. So somebody who's at risk for having what's called sudden cardiac arrest can actually wear one of these, and they don't have to worry that there's an AED next, wherever they're going. They don't have to worry, they hope that they don't need one from the ambulance or the hospital. They can actually wear one, and this is a life-saving device. So I have opportunity to go over there and do that. So some of my teams, as I said, one of the unique things is when I was at Merck and I was promoted in to become a manager, I was actually part of that team before I became the manager of that team. So, or the leader of that team. And that was a unique experience. And again, stuff that we'll get into within this class. And, then taking over that team that I knew. And then again, when I came over to Zoll, this is my team now. Well, minus the guy all the way to the right. He's actually left the team, but I replaced him with somebody else. The guy on the right, all the way to the right, that I was just talking about, the bald head, he's one of my closest friends. He came over, as I told you, it was a low performing team. I needed to bring somebody who would be an ally. He came over and worked with me as I built and changed. So most of these guys weren't on the original team. There's only two that were on the original team that are still on the team today. So able to rebuild the team, and again, we're not last in the company. We've moved up every year since I've been leading them. So it's a good team. Really enjoy what I'm doing now. Again, I love leading people. So if it's a big team or a small team, there's some things that are the same. There's some things that are completely different. There's some things that are very unique to managing large teams, and there's things that are very unique to managing small teams. So it's been an interesting journey of doing that. So my thoughts on leadership, right? So I really fell in love with as I said, the leadership class when I took it with Dr. Erickson, and really got into it and really started to think through. So on the left is something, when I was working for Apex, one of the things is becoming a manager and moving to the main stores. I got to interact with the CEO, and his name is John Ganaris, and you can see from the desk of John Ganaris right down there. And one of the first meetings that we had, he actually he wrote down these 5 things that he said, if you want to be a good leader, these are my 5 things that I think you need to be. So it's again, intelligence, integrity, commitment, creativity, decisiveness. And I thought that was unique. And I actually carry this in my planner, carried it since the day that he gave it to me. So that was almost 30, 25, 30, 25 years ago. He gave me that. And I've carried it ever since. And it's very unique because we're going to do a project where you actually will get to define your 5 uh, kind of definitions of leadership. So your five basics of leadership. So it was just interesting that all the way back then, I didn't realize that I was learning exactly what I was able to put together when I took the leadership class. Collecting these things from people when they would tell me what they thought was important about leadership, and helping me define what my definition of leadership. And that's exactly what this course is about, right? So we're going to listen to and talk to a lot of different people, and where you're going to do a lot of kind of self-reflecting and figure out what are those things that are your leadership, and start to build your leadership um, kind of foundation. So that's what we're working on. So a lot of this is going to stems from one guy. So the kind of the leadership that we talk about is servant and authentic leadership, and it really started with the guy up at the top, right side, Robert Greenleaf. So Robert Greenleaf was kind of the father, the inventor of servant leadership, and from servant leadership came a lot of other things. Um, he's got a very unique story. We're going to read his book basically on servant leadership. So, but from him came a lot of these other people that you see down the end. So to go through it all the way to the left on the top, that's Simon Sinek. And then across from him is Adam Grant, then Daniel Pink, General Stanley McChrystal. Then on the lower left, that's Amy Cuddy, that's Fields Wick Miriam, Bill George, and Michael Gervais. So all these people are from different backgrounds. They're all considered leadership. These guys all study leadership. They study parts of leadership. Some of them are college professors. Some of them are, social entrepreneurs. There's all kinds of interesting things about all of these people. You'll be introduced to all of them throughout this year, throughout the semester, and you'll learn a little bit. And again, the idea is to take a little bit of each one of them, because each one of these people took something from Robert Greenleaf and made it their own. So we're going to read Robert Greenleaf. We're going to listen or read stuff from all of these people, and we're going to take little bits and pieces, and we're going to start building your leadership foundation. So you've listened to me. So what I'd really like you guys to do is for your first exercise is to do just what I did. Put together an about, kind of something about you, 3 or 4 slides, who you are, something about you, your definition of leadership. Please utilize some pictures so that we can get to know you. Again, there's no grade on this. It's you did it or you didn't do it, but it's a way for everybody to get to know one another. And hopefully once you do yours, you'll start seeing other people's, and you'll go on there and you can learn a little bit about it. Because one of the interesting things about this class is, if it's online or in class, we share a lot about ourselves, and we share a lot about our thoughts on leadership and our thoughts about different things. And that's where it's going to help you. You're going to learn a lot about from one another. So getting to know who people are is a big part of it. So then once you do that, we're going to have lots of different kind of definitions and things about leadership. And we're going to start pulling them apart, and we're going to start building your leadership. So I really look forward to having everyone in the class. It was nice to start to get to know you. Hopefully I'll get to know all of you much more throughout the year. So have a great day. Talk to you soon.